Hello, everybody. I'm Travis.
Hello, everybody. I am Brandon, and welcome to Apathetic Enthusiasm, the show where we talk to you, the listener, and we talk to each other, the podcast hosts, about the things that interest us and that are going on in our lives, whether it's in Omaha or Tampa or wherever you may find yourself across the country or across the world.
I had made the decision in that moment to just see how long I could let you do the podcast by yourself without any help from me. It was almost a minute. So great job, Brandon. Yes, welcome to Apathetic Enthusiasm, the podcast where we're seasoned veterans, got 150 episodes done and behind us, and we just keep pressing on until for the next month when we don't do any more episodes. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for those of you that are streaming this live right now to your eye holes. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. If you would like to follow us on social media, there are many ways you can do that. You can jump on Twitter at Apathusiast. I am at Jogomino. He is at Barnyard Cruise. Facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show. We have an Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm. And of course, our email, the way that the true pinnacle of communication is carried out, apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. This podcast and all of our other podcasts over at apatheticenthusiasm.com. That's the website. Head over there and get ready because Rick and Morty's right on the corner. You want to be ready for interdimensional RSS.
You don't want to be ready. You need to be.
Gots to be ready. Gots to.
The
folks watching us, we got to talk. I'm adding it to the show notes right now, and that's 100 subs. But you can watch us live and watch video versions of these episodes at youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. That's right. Custom URL, thanks to the amazing fans of this podcast and Interdimensional RSS who all went out and subscribed over there to allow that to happen. So thank you very much to you, the viewers.
But for sake of argument, just the folks who are listening and watching this podcast specifically, Internet RSS it's one thing, that's kind of, like bandwagoners, but this is the podcast for you. And thank you all. I think we may have like 96 people who listen to this show at a time.
And they're all subscribed on YouTube, every last one of them. The challenge, though, if you happen to be watching on Twitch right now, grab your friends, grab your family, grab strangers off the street, and take them over to twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm because, oh boy, the followers over there, they got a lot of work to do to catch up to the YouTubers. But I'm just gonna throw that out there as your next sort of achievement, listeners. Help us get those numbers up over at twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. All right, enough of that crazy self-promotion business.
That seemed like the most exciting social media segment that we've ever had on this show.
I'm so fired up. I'm so hyped. I'm hyped for everybody that's watching right now and going wild in the chat. I'm glad that you guys are building a little bit of a community in the chat and talking across different platforms wherever you like to watch. But Brandon, it is spooky season. It is the end of October, which means Halloween is right around the corner, and this is like your bread and butter, brother. It's bread and that's a hard thing to say. Bread and butter, brother.
Bread and butter, brother.
It's hard to say it without sounding like you're talking like pigeon.
No, that was good. I didn't know for a second if you were trying to say butter, brother.
But yeah, go get your butter, brother.
Or if you just stuttered. Ooh, breaded butter, brother.
So long as you don't have your buttered brother breaded.
Let's talk about tongue twisters on tonight's episode. That's right. Spooky season is upon us. It is October, the month of the devil. I think. I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure if that translates. We'll have to check the Latin. on that.
Demons month. Uh, Satan's Satan's birth year. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't think any of that has to do with the origin of Halloween, but okay.
All Hallows Eve. It is October. It is the month of Halloween. One of the best months of the year, not only for diabetes, but also for dressing up in your favorite scary costumes or maybe slutty costumes. What do you prefer? And
Whatever you're into.
horror movies and television show.
Yeah, yeah. So you gave me a recommendation for something to watch,
That's
so
right.
that we had something to talk about that
Yeah.
was somewhat spooky. And I gotta say, I'm not gonna say you let me down, because I mean the movie we watched was pretty decent, but I gotta say it didn't seem very scary.
No,
Not not at all.
it wasn't very scary at all. You're right. Uh, I knew that you were going to watch a movie to kind of help me usher in the end of the month,
Hmm.
and and I didn't really realize that you were going to include Sheena at first. And that's why I partially recommended this movie, uh, because there's some I don't necessarily know Sheena all the time, and like especially some of the beginning bits of that movie. I'm like, I don't know if this is something that she would be like, oh God, Travis, do we have to finish watching this?
No, I think she enjoyed it. I think she enjoyed the film, like, overall. Yeah. So,
Okay,
she's we watch a variety of things. She's married to me, so she watches, sometimes I get to pick the movie. I'll say that. Yeah, she doesn't watch Rick and Morty though. Sorry to let the fans down in the chat. You can let her know uh, how displeased you are with that.
yeah.
But yeah, so this was,
Well,
we were talking around it, but we didn't actually say what the movie is. The movie we're speaking of is Little Monsters.
Little Monsters, yeah,
This is a Hulu original. Uh,
released in 1989. It was directed by Richard Greenberg, and stars Fred Savage and Howie Mandel.
yeah, exactly the movie that I thought we were watching. I also immediately thought of that movie when you mentioned Little Monsters, and I was like, oh no, that's the title of that new Hulu one. But I feel like somebody's gonna search for the wrong movie, and I don't know that they'll be disappointed when they find the 1980s classic.
They probably will. No, we're actually talking about Little Monsters, the 2019 movie, starring Lupita Nyong'o, Josh Gad, Alexander England. I don't know who that is,
That's
but
probably the other main character in the movie.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what else he's been in. Is what I'm. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know what else he's
Oh,
been
oh
in. But it is a movie, like you said, Hulu original, real brief plot. We'll use IMDb because it just makes things easier. A washed-up musician teams up with a teacher and a kids show personality to protect young children from a sudden outbreak of zombies. There you go.
yeah. There you
And
go.
we're done with this episode. What else?
All right. Well, thanks for liking and subscribing, everybody. Yeah. So I knew this was going to be a zombie flick. Zombies are a genre that I don't find really scary anymore, and almost to the point now where it's, I don't know if like The Walking Dead ruined it or what, but they just seem kind of like a generic like enemy or something, and especially with a movie like this where you have slow moving zombies that have relatively low threat of like chasing after you. They didn't seem incredibly smart as far as zombies go, so they were stopped by simple fences and things like that. So the threat level was pretty low in this movie, and it really wrote out the comedy aspect. It's a horror comedy, and I would argue much more of a comedy than on the horror side.
I would argue that as well. If you think of movies like Shaun of the Dead as far as horror comedy,
Yeah.
This is more along the lines of that rather than maybe Dawn of the Dead or Land of the Dead or anything of the dead. That's not a comedy.
Any of your classic of the dead genre.
Yeah, and so it's got Josh Gad in it. He is the aforementioned kind of kid's personality. Think of uh, I
It's
don't
like
know,
a Captain Kangaroo kind of like
like
DJ Lance. I don't know.
yeah,
From Yo
DJ,
Gabba Gabba fame.
the one dude from Blue's Clues, the
Steve? No, was Steve the first one or the second one?
I think Steve was the first one. He was the one
Yeah.
who went on to like get bald and then go into death metal.
Yeah. Yeah. With
Um,
his thinking chair.
yeah, that's right. That's right. But the point about zombies not scaring you anymore, I'm not really sure the last time I've ever been frightened of zombies.
Yeah.
And maybe because I've just had them exposed to me. They've exposed themselves to me for,
Now that does sound scary.
in a Las Vegas bathroom just for years. Uh,
What do
there's a
you
story.
think?
I went to like one of the shitty casinos on the like off of the strip one time. This like when I was in choir in high school, and like we did like a Las Vegas trip. We went to Nevada University, and then we stopped off at a casino, I think, for dinner. And I went into the bathroom and I went to a urinal, and it was just like a row of urinals. And then I went into like the middle, and there's nobody there. And then an old man came in and then stood at the urinal right next to me, and then like he looked over at me, and he kind of went like and then
Brains.
I pulled my pants up and I left. um
Slowly backed out of the room.
I've been afraid of old men and zombies ever since. But you're right, the concept of slow moving zombies at any rate are, yeah, it's not inherently frightening. I guess it's just the horde aspect of it, and the logic to me that says, well, it's easy enough to fight slow things off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But the rapid way that a group of normal, unsuspecting folks quickly become zombies presents an element of danger rather quickly. So,
right.
yeah. So yeah, you read the synopsis, but essentially, like in a little bit more detail, the main character he breaks up with his girlfriend. He seems like a bit of a loser. He doesn't really seem to have his life together. He's playing his metal guitar out on the street trying to raise money, and he ends up crashing with his older sister and her son, who is kindergarten aged, and decides that he's going to try and get his life sort of straight and go back to his girlfriend. Turns out she's already moved on and is in the middle of being with another man when when he brings his kindergarten age nephew with him to try and reconcile that relationship. But yeah, so then he moves on and it has the hots for the kindergarten teacher, played by Lupita Nyong'o, I think
Yeah,
is how that's
yeah,
pronounced.
that's right. That's right.
A Taylor Swift ukulele playing bundle of joy in a bright yellow dress. He escorts the class on a field trip and out at this petting zoo, which happens to be strategically located right next to a U.S. testing facility
Yeah.
that apparently tests zombie chemicals.
Which by the way, this movie, it takes place in Australia.
Yeah,
So everyone's Australian with the exception of Lupita and the U.S. Army base. Which is there? We have there's a presence there, I think.
sure. Why not? Why
Yeah,
can't there be?
but not for testing. Certainly not.
Certainly not for testing zombies.
it, the the military is not capable of such monstrosities. uh,
Uh,
oh,
but
what a
yes,
okay. No, yeah. Australia. I wanted to make sure that point that out.
shout
Um,
out to the Aussies listening.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Soon enough, the uh, all hell breaks loose at the military facility, and the zombies start. They break out and they make their way to the camp, and uh, they start eating tourists. They start doing things, and Lupita and the main character, the guy who's getting his life together, they're like on like a tractor trailer with these kindergarten kids when the first zombies appear. And what I really liked about this movie was you this guy, he's the one getting his life together, and he's the one who's supposed to mature throughout the movie. And he's the first person you meet in the first couple scenes. Yet when Lupita comes on to the scene, and she's starting to protect the kids, and she's doing everything she can to protect the kids from the zombies, but almost like have you seen Life is Beautiful?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Like it had a very Life is Beautiful way about it. Like it's all a game. These are don't let the zombies touch you,
Yeah,
because you'll.
it's like tag. You can't get tagged. Don't let them touch you. There, everybody's it. Everyone is it. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Life is Beautiful because that was what Sheena was referencing when we were watching it. Is that the way Miss Caroline, Lupita's character, is uh, sort of shielding the children from the reality of what's happening and protecting them both physically and mentally. It's very much like a Holocaust situation, is what she referred to, and saying that kids like experience that same sort of thing where they had parents or other guardians looking out for them and shielding them from the actual terror that was happening all around them. So yeah, it's when you think about it at that level, then to me that's like the deepest part of this film is really the lengths that the adults go through to make sure that the kids are all right throughout all of it. And it gives the movie some heart, makes it a little bit more than just, zombie brains and jokes. Uh,
Right.
and then you have good old what's his name
Jo-
in Frozen?
Josh Gad,
Josh
uh,
Gad,
playing Teddy McGiggle.
Teddy McGiggles, and his froggy puppet companion,
Yeah.
who ends up being the guy that on the surface in front of the cameras absolutely is great with kids and wants, hey kids, let's check out this cool koala bear. Blah. And then he's like, yeah, I've slept with thousands of mothers
All the
and
mom.
I've done terrible things to them and I hate my life. I studied at the actor's studio. I wasn't supposed to be here.
I studied Meisner at the Actors Studio under Pacino.
Pacino. What would Pacino do in this situation?
Yeah, that character, he he sets up the counterbalance to Alexander England, the main character who plays Dave, as Dave, even though he's a messed up kind of adult child man, Josh Gad is so much worse, and Dave has to be kind of uses that to uh, better himself, especially interacting. I mean, he's on this field trip. Point this out. He's not on this field trip because he wants to be a better person. He's on this field trip because he wants to hook up with Miss Caroline.
Miss Caroline.
Ba ba ba. No, anyway, uh, the movie ends. It's all good. Happy endings all around. Um, Overall, I liked it. I liked it a fair amount.
Yeah, I
I
mean
love
it
her
was
shoulders. They're so friggin' there's I love her shoulders. I don't know what it is about her shoulders. I just like it just they're just the right they're just the right
Just got the
shoulders.
right shoulders. Good shoulders on that torso. Uh, yeah, no, I thought it was funny. It was fun. I'm a little over zombies, so like they didn't do anything particularly different with the zombies. They were pretty generic zombies. So, although there was the one koala bear mascot zombie that I thought was great, and then Josh Gad's co-host when his zombie character shows up. I really like the implementation with that as well. So overall, if you have a Hulu subscription and you're looking for something to watch, absolutely give Little Monsters a try. It's definitely not the best thing on Hulu that you like if you're considering a Hulu subscription. Don't let this be the selling point, because Hulu has live sports. Maybe I can get money by saying that now.
It does have live sports. If you want horror, there's a bunch of Bloomhouse produced horror films, about hour and a half each, called Into the Dark, and they basically do an episode or a movie a month based off of whatever month that is. It started last year in Halloween with an episode called The Body, and it took place on Halloween. They have Easter themed episode, uh, Labor Day themed episode. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I recommend that for those who have a Hulu subscription and care about that horror.
Yeah, yeah, check it out. Are you watching that Castle Rock series that I keep seeing the first time I open up Hulu every time?
I haven't watched the second season of Castle Rock. Did you watch the first season of Castle Rock?
No, I haven't watched any of it.
ah, ah, ah. All right.
But
You have
now Hulu is like my main source of television, so I have so many more reasons. I will be in Hulu much more often than I was over the last year.
all right. The first season of Castle Rock is really good. It is. I finished it while I was in Alabama. I think. It. If you like Stephen King, it is just a perfect storm of Stephen King Easter eggs wrapped into a show.
All right.
And the second season of the series is taking place. I think the main character is Annie Wilkes, who is the evil person, the ultra fan from Misery,
Mm-hmm.
played by Kathy Bates. Uh,
Okay.
and
But this
so,
is so this is kind of like a prequel almost type, or
uh,
is
I
it just like I don't know. I don't know.
well, I don't know if I don't know if it's a prequel or if it's just kind of a using those characters as a jumping off point to tell other stories.
All right,
The,
that's
the
cool.
first the first season, the main characters weren't any main Stephen King staples, although there was a sheriff from the Dead Zone and another book of Stephen King's, who's kind of an ancillary character. But anyway,
All
that's
right,
good. Check it
go check it out. Yeah, I'll have to find. I think I talked about this before, but I may just watch like Halloween or something over the next day or two, just to like just for the music, but also just to get myself in the right mindset for Spooky Thursday.
Do you know what I watched? Do you know what I watched on Friday night? As a matter of fact,
No, I
Trav.
don't.
Uh, so Joe Bob Briggs, he had his Halloween hootenanny that night. He showed three movies. He showed Halloween, Halloween 4, and Halloween 5. I fell asleep 10 minutes into Halloween 4 along with the kid who stayed up with me to watch it.
Very nice.
Um, and it was fun. I set up the air mattress in the living room, had pillows, had some popcorn. It was great. And he and I had a bet who would last, who'd stay awake longer. Um, I'm pretty sure we lost at maybe the exact same time.
No one could prove that the other person had won.
No, nope, nope.
Fantastic.
Uh, but yeah, so we're getting ready for actual Halloween now,
Hmm.
and I know we talked about this a little bit on S4YA yesterday when we recorded, which is released now, by the way.
Go check out S4IA at apatheticenthusiasm.com.
But the whole trick or treating, different uh, environments of trick or treating. So, for example, it is probably still 75 degrees and 80% humidity outside here in Florida, whereas out there it's similarly humid, but humid in the sense of uh, snowflakes.
It's snowing, Brandon. It's snowing right now as we record this episode. Snow is falling out of the sky, and this is going to be the light snow. We're expecting a couple of inches, up to as much as 4 inches by Thursday. Yeah, so I am a Southern California kid. I grew up wearing shorts all the way up till Thanksgiving, if not beyond, and never even gave a second thought about a snowy, trick or treating event. Yeah, I have no idea what to do with my kids for trick or treating this year, because it is like do people shovel their sidewalks and driveways and then still pass out candy, and kids just do the one street and then hope they don't freeze? I don't know what to do.
And I don't really even see horror films or any kind of media where they're trick or treating in the snow. So I don't even know what I'm supposed to do in that situation, because I haven't had a
You haven't had
show.
a horror film tell you? Yeah, well, most movies are produced in LA or out of Hollywood. So yeah, no one's gonna think about a snowy Halloween. That's just bananas.
It's bananas. Halloween was filmed in Pasadena, California, which I just found out recently, which I thought that was an interesting bit.
All right.
Um, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do on Thursday? You take your
I
trick trick.
I think instead of being Steven Universe with pink flip flops and a T-shirt, my son is gonna be Steven Universe with snow boots and a jacket, and instead of Katniss Everdeen from the second arena in the Quarter Quell, my daughter will be Katniss Everdeen with a big old snow jacket on. And yeah, we'll bust out some hand warmers and we'll hit the town. And I will probably have some warm cider in a thermos that I'll carry around, and then booze in the other one. And yeah, we'll just trick or treat it up. Hopefully they pass out lots of candy early, and we can turn in make a short night of it. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll adapt.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. We could you can come down here and trick or treat if you want.
Oh no, I will be thinking about 2 weeks later when I'm in Florida and it's warm again. Yeah, I'll be thinking about that the entire time I'm forced to be out there.
You're gonna get so sick just from the. I think that's an urban legend or a wives' tale. Like, you're gonna get pneumonia if you switch temperatures too fast, Brandon.
Yeah, my hope is that I get sick when I come back and not going out there, because we've invested far too much money going from cold to warm. I don't I don't want to be sick as I navigate 5 days of theme parks.
Yeah, true that. Um, last year we trick or treated. It was I was in my Freddie Mercury costume, in my A shirt, and I got just tore up by mosquitoes. It was so bad. It was so bad. Uh, so I'm not looking for. I'm looking forward to having my costume be a giant tube of DEET this time.
My wife bought in one of those inflatable costumes, and it's the wacky wavy inflatable arm flailing tube man. And she bought it because my kids had like a walkathon for a school fundraiser, and so she wore it to the school fundraiser to kind of like be like, yay, come Come, go, keep running, kids." And she said it was terribly hot in that costume. So I thought about walking around in that while they trick or treat, because maybe it'll help insulate and keep me warm.
Like, what's the hottest costume I can think of? I want that one.
Yeah.
I want that one.
Be dressed up as the kid from Christmas Story who can't put his arms down. Just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to Halloween. I like this month. I talk about Shudder every single damn time I get in front of this microphone nowadays. But I convinced Omar, who's in the stream watching, that he should get Shudder. He talked to me earlier today. He said, "Ah, I'm loving Shudder, man." I said, "Yeah, damn right you are, kid." And he's like, "I'm not a kid. I'm 41." I'm
I'm
like,
a I'm
"Yeah,
a I'm a grown adult.
F you, bro." And he's like, "F me, F you." And then we like hugged it out for a couple of
That's
minutes.
good. That's
It
good.
was great.
Reconciliation. It's great.
But it was Shudder is just I you know if this is my this will be about my last spot for it. If you like horror, it's a thing for you to get. You should get it. Um, as far as Joe Bob, the new Creep Show that's out. I think this week on Thursday, the last episode. I think it might be the last episode of the 6 episodes they created. One of the segments is being directed by the great Tom Savini, makeup artist from the original Dawn of the Dead.
Ooh.
And he remade Night of the Living Dead actually back in the 90s as well. But he's directing a segment of it. It's so great. It's actually a subsidiary of AMC, which makes sense that Greg Nicotero, who is the showrunner for Walking Dead right now, is the showrunner for Creepshow.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes
Uh,
sense.
but yeah, I just wanted to plug that one more time.
So, and we hint around it on this show quite a bit. We talk about it overtly on this podcast, but you wrote an article about your sort of love of the horror genre for Geek Aid's, what do they call it? 31 Days of Halloween, or what do they call it? I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah,
remember what it's called.
31 DOH. That's right. That's right.
DOH.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I every year basically since you and I had were on Geek Aid, I I think I mentioned it here before. I forgot that it was my idea to do that 13 Days of Halloween until Chris Randazzo, former editor in chief of the site, said, "Yeah, no, that was your idea, man." I'm like, "Oh, hey, cool."
Yeah, that was him.
When we first joined them in what 2015, um, we rolled around into October and I said, "Hey, we should do something like where each day is a different article based on Halloween, with o- article or podcast or whatever have you, so people can celebrate the month and it doesn't have to be horror based. They could do whatever they want as long as it's themed." And like, oh yeah, that's great. So they've been doing it since then. And every year or so, maybe every couple of years, I try to partake. They do scary stories to tell in the dark. They get the audio version of it, and uh, each one of the podcasters slash talent from the site, they read a chapter of scary stories to tell in the dark. The stories are super quick, so there's not a whole lot of effort that they need to put into it, but they do that. And this year I'd done an episode, or a couple years ago I wrote a blog about like anthology, horror anthology. So I talked about Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side and the Twilight Zone, obviously. And this year I talked about why I love horror. And originally like wanted to talk about horror hosts. Because I'm just like fascinated by Sven Gulli and Joe Bob Briggs. I say his name all the time. Omar pointed out to me a guy here in Tampa called Paul Bearer, and who's a horror host on Gremlins 2, like the guy who trying to be a reporter, he was a horror host.
Where do you stand on Elvira?
Uh, I like Elvira. uh, she relies on her assets a lot.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
But I do like her. There's a bunch of different styles of hosts, which is intriguing to me. So I wanted to write something about that, and I was on an airplane to Las Vegas to see my brother get married again, and I was scrolling through the movies. I just wanted to put something on just to have in the background. I never actually listened to the movie. I just have it there playing, and I saw the Child's Play remake, which I thought was pretty good. And okay, I'll put this on. I was in the seat on American Airlines where you get free alcohol no matter what. So, and so I was drinking, I was having a having a good old time. And so I had Child's Play in the foreground. I had my laptop up, and I just started just typing, and so it just morphed into me realizing that that was one of the original Child's Play was one of the first movies I'd ever seen horror wise, and it was a fond memory of hanging out with like second, third, fourth cousins, basically, all in my great grandpa's living room. Who my great grandpa spoke Spanish mainly, and if he was alone in his living room, he'd be watching the Luchadors, Mexican wrestling. Um, but me taking that and just being like, this is what I like. Like I like watching it with people and experiencing it with folks. And the fact that me and Omar talk about these movies, like that's great to me. And us talking about Little Monsters right here, even though this isn't your standard genre that you latch onto, I still like doing it with you.
Right.
So that's basically what the article's all about.
Well, people should definitely go check it out. I'll force you to put a link to it in the show notes. I'm sure you can find links to it across our different social media platforms. We've been sharing that over the past few days. So, yeah, make sure to go check out that article. And the other article is available on those 31 days of Halloween over at geekade.com. Friends, great, good old friends of the podcast, geekade.com.
Yes. And by the way, I don't know if it's been released yet, but I did record one of those scary stories to tell in the dark.
I think I heard a sample of it the
Wait
other day.
till Martin comes.
Yep. So this will be when I can't speak anymore. Excuse me, everyone. Yeah, but this will be the last Apathetic Enthusiasm for about a month and a half or so. Because fans of our other podcasts probably realize that Rick and Morty is right around the corner. 5 more episodes of the pop culture phenomenon that is Rick and Morty. And with weekly episodes, we get pretty busy producing interdimensional RSS. So while we are 151 episodes strong on this podcast, we will be taking a slight hiatus over the month of November and into December while we produce that podcast. And many of the folks that listen to this podcast have come over from our other shows. Others of you have been true fans from the get-go. But hopefully, if you enjoy the stuff that we make, you will still enjoy those other podcasts while we're making them. And hopefully, if we can ever get our schedules coordinated, there will be more D&D episodes that we will put together. We've got at least like a month off, if not more. I think we might be able to play in like a week or two. Is that accurate, Brandon?
I think I think next Friday is I think
The stars align. Everybody is off work or not traveling on that 1 week.
Yeah, I don't think you're on a business trip next week, so
Nope.
I think this is it. I think this is I. It's going to be a short session because I haven't set anything up. I'm just trying to get you to the epic conclusion of that particular set of caverns.
Yeah,
Ruin.
I'm excited. And then we can just yes and each other for the next 2 hours. Oh, there she
Oh,
is. There she is. We need to figure out what I'm saying that's getting her to think.
Which skill do you want to enable?
I don't want to enable any skills.
What?
I have a few skills that can help. Did you mean the core skills?
Alexa, stop.
All
right, she's done. She's done. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Alexa.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying that's triggering her, but maybe you can figure it out in the chat, everybody. But yeah. Oh, and I also ordered my free Google Home Hub.
I did too.
From Spotify. So
I'm trying to get that government intervention in my house.
Trying to bring those wiretaps in.
Yeah, like come on, I don't need a court order for this. Just give me a Google Fi or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, exactly. So while we are taking a hiatus, a break, we certainly aren't going anywhere. We're certainly going to be podcasting quite a bit. We will be hanging out together later this month in just a couple short weeks. So I'm sure if you are following our Instagram, you never know when I'll just pull the live stream app out of my pocket and go live with Brandon. So make sure you're following along for that stuff. There might be some bonus content that happens. You never know. But yeah, and tweets galore and other social media things that we may just be hanging out on a Thursday night and decide, hey, let's just stream this while you're playing some random what was that game? It was like a Factorio.
It's called Mindustry or Mindustry.
Yeah, that's right.
And while I'm playing that, you can draw Pickle Rick. And we can just bore everybody who is watching to the point they're like, you know what? They're not talking about anything. I'm out of here.
We eventually played Underlords, but everybody had pretty much bowed out at that point.
Yeah. So. Hey, J2's in the stream. All right. Hot damn. Welcome back.
Is that both J's? Do we have both J's?
Yeah, we had both J's in here. J1, J2.
Both J's representing.
Yeah, it's a good night. I think this is about to wrap up the episode here. I do want to say thank you everyone who listens to the podcast. Appreciate you. Number one, number two, and I say number two, but that doesn't mean it's less than number one. Like it's just like they're both equally important, but like you have to rank them.
You just have to put them in order. It's not about one being better.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Travis. Like that. I think that helps frame the conversation for these folks. So number two is the folks out in the stream. You guys are out there. You're doing the biz. All the J's are in the house. Matt Sizemore, Alex R.
Omar was hanging out.
Yeah. Just a ton of folks. They're all there at some point.
We saw Sire Dark earlier.
Yeah,
D Squeeze made an appearance, I think. Maybe not. Dark Wolf 1313. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, my voice is completely shot, and I don't know what's happening.
There it is. Usually R10 and X is in here, but he didn't show up, so I hate him. But we do want to thank you, and we hope that you have a happy Halloween, a safe Halloween. If you're going to go trick-or-treating, make sure you check your Snickers bars for razor blades, and if they don't have any, make sure you stop by a CVS and pick up a pack of razor blades to shove them in there.
It's the worst advice ever given on a podcast.
I don't even know where to buy like the razor blades like that you see in movies.
You can buy like a huge pack of them on Amazon, and they'll deliver them to your house.
Really?
Yeah. Safety razors. Yeah.
I'm afraid of those types of razors.
I thought about switching to that type of shaving kit.
Really?
We have a new topic. We'll be discussing this for the next 20 minutes on Apathetic Enthusiasm, shaving habits of a bald man. No,
you get a closer shave with those? Do you know?
I believe so.
Huh.
Yeah, and well, they last longer. I think. I think they. I mean, they're sharper too. I think than
Okay.
like the cheap like Mach 5s that need to make up for the poor quality of the blade by having 5 of them.
Oh, is it? Oh, is that the critique?
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, consider me learned at this point.
But then you also got to like have like the right like shaving cream and like you got to do the whole thing with like maybe the brush and you like maybe get a hot towel. I don't know.
You know what I don't do is uh throw out any type of shaving cream. I use Chelsea's shaving cream that like whatever shaving cream she uses to, like shave her legs and stuff like that. I'm like, that's close enough. Fine.
Your face smells like a summer breeze or something.
like coconut lavender.
All right. Well, farewell, Justin. Farewell, everyone else. Hope you have a great night. If you are hanging out in stream, stick around. We'll have a little bit of a bonus show just for you. And if you're listening on the audio portion, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. If you have the chance and you haven't done so already, head over to Apple Podcasts, rate this episode, review the podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there are any topics you want us to cover on a future episode. And if you want to hear that bonus content, if you want to hear that post show, make sure you're hanging out on Monday nights over on Twitch or YouTube so that you can catch all the bonus funds. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next month or the month after, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon. Thank you. That's wrong song. Yeah, there it is.
All right, bye.
Order.
What professionals we are.
Stalwart.
Yeah, I didn't just say goodbye to Justin. Justin said goodbye to us, and I was saying goodbye directly back to him. Matt, you can have your goodbye when you've earned it.
You have not earned it.
I'm taking a shot to see if it helps my throat at all.
You owe us 100 schmeckles if you want to.
Schmeckles.
Matt, you need to. Do you have a Twitch? You do.
Yeah, I think he's been on the Twitch before.
He's on there, yeah.
I love that we ended the show and now our viewer count like jumped back up. Hey everybody that's hanging out for the post show. Welcome. You're here for after the show at Apathetic Enthusiasm, where the original podcast is done and we're just hanging out, interacting directly with you. Let us know if you have questions. Let us know what you're doing for Halloween. I want to know what your Halloween plans are. Are you dressing up? Are you going to parties? Are you trick-or-treating? Are you scaring young and innocent children at your place of residence?
Are you staying inside and just
watching shutter creeps?
Shutter creeps. Or are you just being a creep watching people from a distance? Alex R asks you, Travis, what are you drinking?
I'm busting out the good stuff. I'm not going to do it as a shot. I'm going to enjoy it. But we got a little Johnny Walker Blue Label that I've been slowly working my way through. It's snowing outside. It's cold outside. So I'm going to bring the warmth inside.
Yeah.
It's also the best stuff that I have within arm's reach of my podcasting setup. So that's the other reason I'm drinking.
You know, in a change of pace, Travis, a role reversal here. I'm the one who's not drinking any alcohol right now. I'm
weird.
Actually water.
This is the stuff that I smuggled across the old Mississippi when I visited folks further east than I am. I usually grab a case of Yuengling traditional lager from America's oldest brewery. I usually bring some back, and I've got a ton in my fridge right now. So
Yeah, yeah, I like Yingling. All right. Maybe this is a conversation we have all the time. Yingling's all right. I like it, but I'm not like that is the best that's ever happened to me.
No, it's not the best. It's to me, it's more about history. It's about thinking of friends from years past who love the lager and speak highly of its origins.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
love the
this is
lager.
definitely better.
I'm about to click S- Sardark's YouTube link. I hope this isn't Rick and Morty porn.
I have yet to meet a woman that doesn't dress sexy on Halloween. Witch? No, sir. Sexy witch. Freddy Krueger? Nope. Sexy Freddy Krueger. Sexy damn Freddy Krueger.
There you
Uh,
go.
there you go. I'm glad that my sound is tied on one hand tied directly to my Rodecaster, and on the other, sometimes when I get a random like notification, those are the times that I don't. That might have been loud for everybody. I apologize.
Also, just to clarify in the chat, I am not rich. That was very much a gift and a very generous gift to me, which is why I drink it so slowly.
That that's have I ever told you why I don't like buying whiskey?
No, I don't think we've
Okay,
had that conversation.
let me tell you. And this is something I don't think we've discussed on Apathetic Enthusiasm. So for all those currently watching, you are getting a bonus.
The exclusives, ladies and gentlemen, these are post-show exclusives just for you, the fans that show up and show out every time we stream.
Bonus. All right. Why don't I like buying whiskey? I do like the taste of whiskey. I've bought some bottles of it, Ballon Veni or something like that.
Yep. But
15
yeah. Yep.
15 year in the barrel, uh, guaranteed. Like I enjoy it, but the problem is I drink so much that
Yeah.
the quality at some point in time, like the quality doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I just have some uh effect
And
inside my body.
you frequently mix your hard alcohols, correct? Like you're a cocktail sort of a guy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have beer. I don't mix beer with anything.
Well, beer and wine, obviously, those are
Right, right.
those are what they are.
Uh,
Um,
vodka. Chelsea got me into vodka tonics, but sometimes I
a
have vodka.
refreshing summer beverage, absolutely.
Right, right. Or I mix it with Sprite or with Gatorade or with whatever else. Soju I mix with everything under the sun. It's just
There's
like
no
soju.
wrong answers with soju.
um, I don't mix Scotch. I don't mix whiskey because what kind? Like I'm not a monster. Okay,
Right,
I'll
exactly.
put 2 cubes of ice, maybe. People shun on, uh, look down on that sometimes as well.
Now, I would argue that people that really know what they're doing will put a cube of ice or a drop of water to because it opens up the aromas and it it actually improves the flavors of the whiskey. But that's where I get my pinky out when I'm drinking it. And honestly, I just don't have water or ice down here. I should probably keep an ice tray in the freezer portion of my mini fridge.
Well. I know some people who say they have like the whatever those metal rocks or whatever the
Oh yeah, like whiskey rocks or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
you put those in it and they are supposed to do something similar. I don't know. But I I do like Scotch. I do like Scotch whiskey. But again, I don't have if I'm gonna spend $50 on something, I'm gonna spend it on like 5 bottles of vodka liqueur.
yeah. You're you're more of a volume shooter. I'm more of a finesse player.
Right.
Yeah.
Gobi.
This This Yingling will probably last me till New Year's. And I'll probably still be drinking this bottle of Blue Label during season 5 of Rick and Morty. So, yeah. In the chat, we've got a bunch of drink recommendations. Let's see.
Let's explore it.
Brandon eats some Zima. I'm sure Brandon is now married because of whiskey.
I would drink.
Brandon starts fights on whiskey.
Zima's pretty good. Luna Azul. Oh, Luna Azul. That's me and Matt's favorite. Well, I don't know if it's our favorite tequila, but it's the tequila that we always buy together because Luna Azul.
It's because of the name.
Yeah.
Zima and Jolly Ranchers sounds like what people did before White Claw was invented. Jack Daniel's Honey and Coke. So sweet. Yeah, I used to be a real rum and Coke guy. Like, just give me some rum. Remember when we were like drinking a lot of what was that? The Kraken, that spiced rum out in Hawaii. We used to buy bottles of Kraken all the time.
Kraken.
We used to mix Kraken and root beer, I think.
Yeah, we did. Is that what I puked on when we're at the beach? Camping?
No. We bought like a case of PBR.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had some other variety of things, and we just sat. We were camping out at the beach, just chatting, looking up at the stars. The rest of our families had gone to bed. We were just drinking and doing exactly what we do for you fine folks and stream on the internet, talking it out. And then Brandon's like, just a moment. He got up, walked behind a tree, yeeted that PBR behind the tree, and then continued. We had it. And then I think you like went to sleep, and I went and wandered down to the beach and sat on a bench and reflected on, the creation of the earth or something. And then my wife was like, "Where the hell did you go?"
The beach.
Like, the bathrooms are far away. I had to go over there.
The beach gives me the willies at night, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like something's just gonna like just crawl out and yank me in and then let me go.
The thing that should give you the willies if you're camping on a Hawaiian beach is the centipedes that I found all throughout my tent after we were packing things up, because those things are no fun.
What frightened me from that beach was that beach had like an old like metal statue of a diver just like looking out at the beach, and at nighttime you just see this figure, this dark figure, and
staring out to the horizon.
And he's right next to the bathrooms. So like every time I went to the bathroom, I'm like, oh God, it's gonna get me.
It's gonna get me. Are centipedes poisonous? Great question. No, I don't think so. The antennae on either end of them will sting you, but I do not think that they are.
Yeah. I don't know if they're poisonous, but if you do kill them, if you crush them with like a boot or a shoe, they release a pheromone that actually attracts other centipedes to go to that area.
I want to tell you my first Hawaiian centipede story, but before we do that, big thank you to ACP Network, who is following us now on Twitch. Thank you, ACP Network, for the follow. Welcome to the party. Yes. So we had. What's up? Say hi. Say hello in the chat. Centipedes give you measles. I don't know that that's true, size mode, but thank you for that contribution. So we were in our new house that we were living in Hawaii, and we were painting a wall of the living room. We didn't have any furniture. We were painting up that wall, and I'm probably about 10 feet away from my lovely bride, who is standing just by the entrance to the kitchen, and I'm painting this wall, and out from like a corner of the room comes this big old centipede. It's probably like I don't know,
Like
yay
100.
long.
It has 100 legs. We know at least.
Yeah, it was probably a good, 6 or 7 inches. It was a huge. It's probably the biggest centipede I've ever seen. And she's like, "Oh God, like kill it!" And so there happened to be a shoe nearby. I grabbed the shoe, and I swatted it, and the other end of the centipede exploded and shot 10 feet across the room directly at my wife's face, and she got centipede guts in her mouth. And so she doesn't like centipedes anymore.
Oh,
But yeah, so that's my centipede story. Thanks for joining ACP Network. That's the type of high quality stuff you'll get.
Centipedes. Let's see. And then the centipede officiated your wedding.
Yeah. Well, the throws up and dies.
Yeah. So beaches. Let's go. Let's rewind here a little bit. Matt, 5 worst hangovers all times, drinking Kraken. Omar buys their gift set for badass shot glasses. That's good. That's good. ACP's following us though.
Yeah, we got that going for us. One follower closer on Twitch. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I drank more when we lived a block away from each other.
Yeah.
Or like 2 houses away from each other.
Cruises have that effect on people.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to our hangout in a couple weeks in an Italian restaurant where there may or may not be wine.
Oh boy. I mean, I have to drive back to Tampa that night. So
fair enough. Hey, but Chelsea doesn't.
no. So. No. Yeah.
I hear hotel rooms are cheap on Disney property anyway. You could probably just stay.
That's true. That's true. Chelsea is a on the PTA, as you know, and I don't know if everybody on the PTA drank before Chelsea showed up. I mean, they probably have had alcohol, but now they're like, "Oh, we just had an event. Let's go drinking." Chelsea's like, "No, I drank last night." They're like, "You can't drink another night, Chelsea." And then
PTA is this?
And then the event ends, and then Chelsea's like, "Okay, well, let's go, let's do this." And they're like, we're actually too tired. Typical.
The question in the chat is, how many guests have you had on Apathetic Enthusiasm in this show's history, and where are you guys hanging out and for what? 2-part question. First, how many guests have we had?
I would
say
that's
four. You
4
think
or 5?
4? We've definitely had more than 4. And we talk about actual people, right? So we've had the creator of Angry Beavers.
Yes, Mitch Shower.
We've had, I think we had Chris Randazzo on once.
Yeah, that seems about right. Like, are we talking about like actually like on the show, or we're shooting the shit, or like do interviews count for the show as well?
Well, I think interviews count because we had the guy that did the Star Wars like remake things
that's right. Yeah, that might have been the one that Chris was on because he wanted to take part in that.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. We've had Jimmy J and Bill J.
That's right.
Come on the show.
That one person or
they're brothers, 2 brothers. Yeah, it was mostly Jimmy J on the show though.
Uncanny Megan, I think, was on the show at one time.
Yeah, I think she was probably on.
Or Dallas Nagata.
I don't know if Dallas ever came on our show. I don't know. I think were you on? You were on their show once.
I was. What, the Manapauhana?
Manapauhana, that's right. Nice poll.
Yeah. We do a lot more being on other people's shows. I do anyway. I'm like, let me get our names out there. Get our names out there. And you're like, listen to our podcast too. Um, we
Yeah,
don't
I mean, we could pull guests. We could have more guests on the show. If
we don't
that's
have an
your
email.
attempt to get on the podcast, Matt, you're always welcome. Standing invitation.
Oh, don't say that.
I
He's
mean,
gonna want to do it.
we
Well,
record really late at night on work nights.
um, damn it. No, I actually told him, I was like, if you can get us, guests, then you can come on the show. And then he hooked us up with that one uh, news type person who does that, like gets guests for,
Professionally.
yeah. Like, all right, fucker. Here.
Guess you can come on the show
So while we're on our hiatus, Matt can do an episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm by
by
himself.
himself.
That actually might be the most numbers we'll ever get.
Yeah, he brings an audience with him. That's true. Yeah, we should
True.
definitely we should have him on a for sure.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Let's do it. I mean, he's basically a third part of the show anyway, as much as he.
As much as he's active in the chat.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else talks in the chat because he's like,
It's just hard to keep up. He really helps drive those numbers up of active chats on our statistics that we get post stream.
yeah, Post Malone.
Post Malone, yeah, sunflowers. Yeah. So I don't know what else. What else is going on? Oh yeah, the second part of the question: where are we hanging out and why? I'm going to Florida on vacation with my family, and so we're gonna meet at an Italian restaurant in Disney Springs, because that's the place I reserved for us.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Travis. Here's a good question from Alex. Here it's a question for both of us, really. Per the question, how has your co-host changed over 100 podcasts, or 150, or how? We'll add 150 plus 89, whatever that number is. I don't know. I'm not.
This many podcasts.
How
have we
how
changed?
have I changed? How have I changed to you, and me? How
Well, I'll
have
tell
you
you what. Dead giveaway. When we started doing this, I had a full head of hair, luscious, gorgeous locks.
his voice wasn't always the bald one. He actually used to not be the bald one, and then
Yeah,
I
and then
took
your hair started growing and mine went away. No, none of this is true. None of this is true.
with the hair.
Brandon used to be the funny one.
And now you're nice and clean, even though face looks like it might have gone through a machine.
Brandon didn't used to sing as much. Uh, I don't. What has changed about you? I definitely think you've always been more comfortable in front of a microphone. I think I was really nervous when we started, but I think you've really settled into your willingness to step out on a limb and try different things, and like you're I don't know if this has changed or this has just been consistent, but you're like, hey, let's try this, let's have these guests on, let's pull these people in, let's try this. So that's been good. I don't know. I don't know. You've been the rock on this whole journey, and I've been the one that's done all the growing.
All the growing.
All the growing.
Well, I won't say that.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
That's not true. That's not true at all. As we've done this for the last however many years, what I found is that you are I don't know, you have always seemed confident, even though you were nervous in front of the microphone. That's fine, is what it
Fake it
is.
till you make it, bruh.
Fake it till you make it. You um you highlight the differences between you and I, because you are much more organized when it comes to these things, and it's all you need to do is listen to come on to S4OA for one episode to be like, I don't know what we're talking about. Oh God, this is a loose episode. I don't know what I'm supposed to do for loose episodes. Um, but you are more willing to do that, and more willing to um let experimentation be experimentation, and uh ad lib be ad lib. Um,
Absolutely, yeah. Well,
uh,
for a long time in making this show, we I worked hard and I worked to make sure that we had like a concise outline of everything that we were going to talk about with references like built into our outlines and sometimes plan transitions, and I would like spend a lot of time working on that. And it's pretty apparent now to me, maybe it's not to you the listener, but we don't do a lot of that with this show anymore.
no.
Generally, the sometimes when you have that loading screen on the Twitch stream that says like stream starting soon, that's us like hammering out the four topics that we might talk about, and then sort of trying to navigate through all of those topics as we have a conversation. But yeah, it's that I definitely feel a lot more comfortable as a podcaster in general, and being able to, after doing and producing so many episodes, like knowing the beats and knowing how to get from one topic to another or from one segment to another, so that I don't have to stress about that and I can just be on the show and enjoy the conversation. So
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
that's been a change for me, and I think you have always been the funny guy, but there were times when you like worked for the joke, and like sometimes at the cost of the structure of the show or something. And now you're still the funnier host, but you work it in to because you know those rhythms and those beats as well, and you're just like, oh, here's a good opportunity for me to make fun of Travis again.
what I'll say about this doing this, and having this back and forth with you, and in kind of this performance, which I guess this is entertainment. This is entertainment business in a way, um, not paid for it, but it's we find out those rhythms, and we find out how to be better listeners and better responders, and um having been on guesting on other podcasts, and I did Trivia Geeks for a while. That's been on hiatus for a long time, and the different folks who come on there and they're trying to promote their stuff as well as play a trivia game. Uh, just seeing that it's like talk just because you're getting in front of a microphone and you're guesting on a different show doesn't mean that you need to talk all the time to to get who you are across. um because I've because there have been people who just like nonstop talk, and and they're hamming it up, and they're doing everything they can to get the jokes out, and be the funny one, and get the laughs. And what I found is the people who are more effective are the ones who they 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 don't pull their punches, but they know when to respond, and how to respond, and when to make that joke, and when to you know do to be a little bit more reserved, I guess.
Yeah.
um and so you and I, when I first started with Matt, Matt and I, we had our little we had our little Matt and Brandon semi-decent podcast way back in the day. Shout out to that crappy podcast with him and I. But he, I, the first couple, the episodes we did, 5, 6, whatever, him and I were that type of person where we were doing it for the joke. We're just rambling on. We didn't have form. We didn't have structure. We're just going at it because we're weighing on our ability to be funny and make people laugh to do it. But everyone who listened to that show realized, oh, it's like there's no point to all of this. When is it going to end? Like, where's this going? Um, and he and I recorded a rehash just this last year of an episode, and what I got from you talking about that structure, looking at the bones and an outline, I going into S4YA and being able to host things and guide the conversation between me and Matt to where even though we were joking back and forth, there was still a okay. Well, how about this? Let's go get back into the subject.
Transition back on topic. You
Yeah.
you can weave around so long as you're still moving in the same direction.
A couple things back over to the comments. Sire Dark, after listening to pretty much every episode of IRS and most of AE, doesn't notice the difference. Also, I used to be the robot from Small Wonder from Matt.
We're consistent professionals. We've always been terrific.
Brandon log walking some of those jokes.
Long walking. He corrects it. He corrects it later.
What does that mean exactly? Like,
I will say that there is a comedic style that you particularly enjoy, which is seeing how long you can tell a joke and how long you can keep someone waiting on a punchline. Because the action of telling the joke for as long as possible and never actually getting to the end of the story gives you immense pleasure. And so it doesn't matter how anyone else feels about it. It's fun for you. And there's definitely been occasions. It's rare, but there have been occasions on this podcast where you have expressed that style.
Yeah. That even though I get immense pleasure from that, I know that folks who are listening to a podcast and are wanting to be entertained by us probably don't want, for the majority, don't want to hear that.
No.
Type of stuff.
That's the other thing is I feel like one of the things that's helped a ton is not just us making the podcast, but also listening to a lot of podcasts and trying to find different sorts of podcasts that I'm not trying to copy them necessarily, but hearing other people's version of doing what we do, it gives me insight into what we're doing and ways that we can improve, and then ways that we can also be better than those people, like the ways that we've already arrived, and so that's something that I don't listen to a ton of podcasts because my commute is fairly short.
Right.
But I do find, I'm not trying to brag on you, Brandon, but yeah, I still feel like a lot of the podcasts I listen to, even though I don't listen to them as like research or to make me a better podcaster, I find myself like reverting to certain tropes and things that other podcasters do. We've had conversations today about potentially advertising on our podcasts, and that is not something that we have done regularly on any of our shows. Almost any time we've done it, it's been in a mocking way of podcast ads. But I feel like we are at a point in our podcasting careers where we could easily make the transition into doing ad reads without jeopardizing the feel or the style of our show, and still knock on wood. But I think we could do it, and I think that's another way that we could continue to invest in the shows and make them better. While also keeping the lights on.
Yeah. And I don't listen to podcasts. And when we started this, I didn't listen to podcasts. And uh that any form or structure that I have, it comes from secondhand you saying, yeah, I mean, you should put social media stuff in, and you should have an intro, and that type of stuff.
Good. Well, at least one of us is doing the research. So,
Well, yeah.
give us your best sales pitch. You can use as a warm up.
Let's see.
That's the beauty of it, though, is if you're doing podcast ads, most of the stuff is pre-written, like ads that they want you to read. So we just read the copy that they give us and then add our own little comedic embellishments and call it a day. So ideal sponsors, though. What are those products that help you grow hair?
Cialis?
No, I don't think that's it.
MeUndies.
MeUndies. Hot dang! I would love to get my tush in some micromodal fabric, and but I'm not willing to pay those MeUndies prices. So until they sponsor our show, I'm just gonna have to dream about fabric that's softer than cotton.
Here we go.
And delivered directly to your door in unique styles every month.
Every month, Travis?
That's right. And if you use our offer code, meundies.com/apatheticenthusiasm, you can get 20% off your first order. So head over to meundies.com/apatheticenthusiasm and get your pair today.
I have my pair on right now.
Oh, aren't they soft? Don't they just cradle your testicles with just the right amount of, I don't know.
I got a vasectomy, and MeUndies carried me through healing.
Did you get a vasectomy?
Yeah, I got a vasectomy a long time ago. They gave me that codeine, right, to prepare me for the surgery, and then I puked in the bathroom at the hospital. It messed me up. So or the Vicodin, sorry.
Yeah.
So that question about the ideal sponsor, I did a little bit earlier look. I was trying to find like what sponsors are out there that do podcast ad reads because
you don't know because you don't listen to podcasts.
No, well, I mean, I know the standard like Squarespace and MeUndies and
Casper mattresses and
right.
Stamps.com and
right. All that stuff.
HelloFresh or something. I don't know.
And what I wanted to find out, like, because there's like, I read an article, it was like over 2,000 whatever ad read.
I'm sorry, I'm reading Matt's comment about having one of those mesothelioma lawyers sponsor us. If you listen to this podcast and you have mesothelioma, you may be entitled to a cash reward. Pick up your phone and dial 1-800 interdimensional RSS.
Diabetes. What's that fucker's name? Anyway, so I know there's like 2,000 some odd podcast advertisers that go on podcasts. And what I would want is one of those advertisers that is somehow close to what we're talking about on the podcast. I know that's not possible unless it's like Funko or like a comic book store or something like that.
Yeah, and the reality is, like, people watch Rick and Morty, but they also enjoy, I don't know, cooking food, or they watch Rick and Morty, and they also enjoy having their genitals wrapped in the softest possible micromodal fabrics, 10 times softer than cotton.
What does micromodal mean?
I don't know. I need them to send me the underwear, Brandon. They gotta send it to me. It's so I can know. But yeah, so while I would love every product to be like Rick and Morty centric or
Yeah.
pop culture centric, I'm not against doing some ad reads so long as I don't like hate the product or don't believe in the product.
Right.
But yeah, so that is
With this advertised cast, I don't think we have to accept an ad if we don't want to.
Yeah.
Which is good, because why would I do that? I'm not under any contract to accept money.
yeah. But yeah, so that could be an upcoming change that we see coming up pretty soon. For some reason, we're getting dropped frames occasionally. I don't know what's causing that. I don't know. Webernets. Maybe somebody's streaming some Hulus upstairs. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I'm watching Castle Rock season 2 right now.
Wait, are you here right now? Are you in my house? But yeah, so that's that. That's what's going on. We have an episode of Interdimensional RSS for you guys next week, and that will be our lead in to season 4. It's gonna be here before we know it. I'm super excited. I know many of you are as well. We can never hope to top Spencer and Jeff's ad reads. They are masters of their craft, and
They really are.
Their ad reads are truly one of the things that will be sorely missed when Harmontown leaves us for good later this year. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find a new podcast to listen to at the end of the week because that was my Thursday Friday podcast. But
yeah, that was my periodic. You know what? I don't want to listen to the radio. I actually listen to Dave and Chuck the Freak in the mornings nowadays here in Tampa.
yeah, there was a period, I think here, where I think it had to be Hawaii, where I was listening to morning radio, and no, I think I did for a while here as well. But man, I found morning news podcasts, and they're perfect. NPR produces a morning news. It's called The Daily. No, The Daily is Washington Post.
The Daily Show, yeah, with Jon Stewart.
Jeez, get out of here. Get out of here with that. Up first is my if you want to know what I'm listening to every morning on the way to work, it's Up First because it's 3 news stories. It's just enough for me to be aware of what's going on somewhere in the world, and then I can go into work. And then someone's like, "Oh, did you hear they killed the ISIS leader?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did hear that." And I can share relevant information, but then it's all pretty much comedy in the afternoon. So yeah, podcasts. You should listen to them, Brandon.
Yeah, I do.
Explore your craft a little bit.
I do. I get a wild hair every now and then to be like, you know what? Let me listen to a new podcast, and I'll listen to an episode. I listen to an episode of a random. I don't even know what the show's called, but it was on Aphantasia the other day, and it was just somebody who Aphantasia, for those in the stream who don't know what it is. It's the inability to imagine a picture, and it's a very, very basic of it. Travis has it. He cannot imagine a picture.
I wonder whether or not I have aphantasia or not. According to my conversations with Brandon, he really makes me think I do have it, which is weird because I've considered myself an artistic person, but I don't feel like I actually see things when I close my eyes and imagine them. Other people say that they do. And it's one of those things that's hard to determine whether or not what I experience is the same as what other people experience. But I asked my oldest child about aphantasia the other day, and she seems to experience things the same way I do, which is weird. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, this podcast, it was talking to a guy who has it, but they explore just a little bit more, and there's it's not just like you have it or you don't. It's not binary. It's a spectrum of aphantasia. So some folks, they they can't see an image in their mind. Uh, Other folks might be able to see an image, but they can't hear music in their mind. Like if you try to think of like a song, you try to think of uh Anagata Vita. I'll just say that because it's right to my head.
Play it on the bagpipes.
You can't be like dun 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 dun, dun in your head. Like some people can't do that. Um, so I think that's just a really interesting concept. There was another one, uh, Carrie Poppy, a friend of mine from high school. She has her own podcast. Oh no, it's Ross and Carrie, way more successful than ours. She um, she tweeted a way back about symbolized non-symbolized thinking, which is uh, a weird way of saying that you don't people who have non-symbolized thinking, they don't know what they're going to say before they say it. They they're not thinking about it before they say it. They don't think about what they want to say before they say it. They say it and then it becomes a thing. um it's not necessarily an impulsive thing. It's just they don't they're not having like a conversation in their head like, all right, so what I want to do is I want to tell Travis about non-symbolized thinking. I want to say yes, non-symbolized thinking, blah blah blah, and then I say it out loud. These folks just know, like they say it and then it becomes a reality. Yeah, it's I'm not explaining that one too well. I need to look it up more.
More importantly, I think I found a version of Inagata Davida played by a bagpiper,
But
which means, well, we'll just cover up my face for this to happen on stream. Uh, oh no, it made it huge. Uh, there he is.
is it like Kenny Ahern?
It's not bad. It's not. He's the, and now we're getting Brandon actually hearing it back in the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to shoot that link out. Let me get that link out in the chat. So you can catch the full version.
Oh my god.
Right there, everybody. Yeah. So that exists. If you want to know why that's on our minds, make sure you check out Submit It For Your Approvals recent episode.
I might put that on my playlist. All right. I think that should do it for tonight. I think I gotta head out, but thanks everyone hanging out in the stream. You're the best. You're the best, Travis.
You guys are the best. You're the best. And we will see you next week with our last off-season interdimensional RSS, and then stick around next Friday for some Dungeons and Dragons, and then, ladies and gentlemen, Rick and Morty will be back, and it'll be all interdimensional RSS for the next month,
all the time.
All the time. All right, we out. Thank you guys for hanging out. You guys are the best, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.